For nothing is impossible with God. Luke 1:37. Indeed, my friend, nothing is impossible with God. It's why we here believe even our mission is possible. And our mission, child of God, is to spread love and peace to the whole world. Goodness, good vibes, honesty, and forgiveness. Talk about repentance from each and every creator, each and every soul to their creator, my friend. And that way, the world will be full of good vibes. And this mission, interesting child of God, we intend on making it possible by several things which we do. First of all, to be guided in the journey of spreading this message, we must always feed constantly our soul with some words from the book of wisdom. Sorry about the background noise, by the way, before I continue. There is a construction nearby. That's where all the noise is coming from. Kindly bear with us. My friend, what I was saying is feeding constantly from this book with words of wisdom, just like we have read today, my friend. Another thing which we do is reacting to videos. Good vibes videos from across the whole world, from different individuals. Animal videos, my friend. Videos of mysterious stuff that you don't know about. Other occultic videos and videos that are funny, my friend. And all of them, we go through them together. Me and you through the comment section, my friend, but with the guide and help of our Creator, whom we always ask for help and forgiveness before we start the show, just like we shall be doing right now, my friend. So humble yourself from wherever you're watching from as we dive in and talk with our Creator. Dear Lord Father, our Maker and Creator, thank you for your love and goodness. Thank you for the videos that we have today, Father. Thank you for your wonderful child that has joined us, Father. All glory and honor belong unto you, dear Lord. Father, as we react to the videos together with them, may you bless this child of viewers, Father. May you extend your blessings to them, Father. May you do great things for them, dear Lord, and fill us with your spirit. In your holy name, Jesus Christ, you do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Let's dive in, good vibe soul. Peace and love, man.
Next time somebody says that they don't believe something because they can't see it, show them this video. Here are some of the basic parts of an eyeball. You have the lens, which is convex, and then you have the iris, which has these little muscles connected to the pupil, which is just a hole within the iris that allows light to pass through. So light travels from outside through the thickness of the cornea and then travels back to the eye to hit the retina. Now, if we take what this visual field is, because the lens is convex, so it's going outward, the light itself is flipped upside down and it is also inverted. And the light itself, every time you're seeing, doesn't only have to pass through the cornea, but it also has to pass all the way through this gelatinous fluid within the eye before it even hits the retina. So not only is it upside down and inverted, but it's also blurry. The retina itself is composed of 3 layers of neurons, which first are the ganglion. Then we have the bipolar neurons, which pass from the photoreceptors, which are the rods and cones. And these photoreceptors are what allow us to actually perceive light. So this upside down, inverted, and blurry image is scattered further by having to travel through the ganglion neurons, the bipolar, and then finally hitting the photoreceptors. So this is even more blurry by the time it hits these photoreceptors. So these ganglion all gather together to get this information from the photoreceptors, which is sent backwards towards the outside of the retina to then loop back and form the optic nerve, which then goes into the brain for processing. Now the brain takes all this data that was input and it rearranges the image to be clear, to be right side up, and to be reverted by processing all this other information that it's receiving, such as gravity, sound, light, etc. Now the eye itself is processing about 10-ish million bits of information per second unconsciously. That's how many is hitting the brain, but only 50 bits per second are actually perceived consciously. Let's keep adding. The entire electromagnetic spectrum is composed of everything from radio waves to gamma rays, and likely higher and lower. This is a very broad spectrum. Invisible light, the actual amount of light that is able to trigger these photoreceptors to be activated, that range is only a tiny, tiny fraction of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. In fact, it is estimated to be about 0.0035%. So there are constant other rays such as radio waves, microwaves that are hitting the eye itself, but they don't actually activate these photoreceptors, meaning they're not added or included into our visual field, which again is so much information and only a tiny fraction of that consciously. So the visual field, or the part of reality that we are actually able to see, is matter, but it just is the matter that so happens to reflect the right range of the tiny 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum to happen to go through the pupil and so on and so forth to be registered in our brains. But what is matter itself? The atom is composed of a nucleus and an electron probability cloud. But matter itself is actually mostly empty space, because the nucleus itself only occupies 1/100,000th of an atom's total diameter. And this atom cannot be drawn to scale on a piece of paper, because the truth is, if the nucleus were the size of a golf ball, the closest electron would likely be found in some sort of probability cloud several kilometers away from the nucleus. So the truth is, what we're able to see as far as the visual field goes is a certain amount of the electromagnetic spectrum that happens to reflect off of an atom, which itself is mostly empty space, to then be an upside down, inverted, blurry image that is further scattered by 3 layers of neurons to then be processed in reverse into the brain to be transposed into the clear right side up image that we are able to perceive. So if you can see here, what we are actually able to see is actually arbitrary. It's an arbitrary fact that we're able to perceive this certain amount of the electromagnetic spectrum. It could very easily be that we perceive this amount, a different 0.035% in a different part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So in conclusion, believing what you see is actually just shrinking reality to an absurdly small degree, because if you take a look at these numbers, there's no way that we should, in our right minds, be focusing only on what we're able to see.
This is propaganda. People understand that. Getting women out of the home, onto the line, because men were at war.
This is such good propaganda that people think it's one type of propaganda when in fact it's another. Because this is not actually Rosie the Riveter, and this was not used to get white women into the workplace. This is Rosie the Riveter. And she was propaganda used for that very reason, to get white women to work in industrial capacities that men could not work in because they were deployed for the war. This was Westinghouse propaganda. This was used exclusively in Westinghouse's factories to motivate the women who were already working there, but more specifically to give the work that they're doing a sense of importance to keep them from striking. This was anti-labor propaganda, and it's brilliant. Everyone thinks this is Rosie the Riveter. The only reason I know that this isn't Rosie the Riveter because I live in the city where Westinghouse was housed, and I have been to the Heinz History Center. But yeah, propaganda nested within propaganda.
On today's episode of Shit You Should Have Learned in High School Science but Probably Didn't, this one I think you did learn, you probably just forgot. And apparently some fucking health guru on TikTok forgot it as well. There was a healthy lady that was on a podcast that said if you put bread in the freezer, it increases the fiber content. And every biologist and biochemist around the world said, "What? Oh, no, girl, no." This is bread. You know, if you're on Atkins, keto, carnivore, you're supposed to avoid it. I like bread, so I'm gonna eat it. Bread is full of things called carbohydrates, and carbohydrate just means that it's a carbon with a water attached to it. That's why it's called carbohydrate. This molecule up here is what we would call a trisaccharide. It's a type of carbohydrate. Tri means 3, saccharide means sugar. Because there's a sugar molecule here, a sugar molecule here, and a sugar molecule here. See those little oxygens that are holding the sugar molecules together? That's called a glycosidic linkage. Your body can digest this. This is also a trisaccharide because it's made of 1, 2, and 3 sugars. Your body can't digest this one though. Let's play a game. What's different about this versus this? Did you notice that the oxygens that are holding the sugars together are in slightly different positions? This is why your body can't digest fiber. That small little change in the position of the oxygen makes it where your body says, nah, it's too much work for me, I can't break it down. And fiber acts like a toothbrush for your colon. It cleans all the walls of your colon from all the dookie as it flows through. There is no way to change the position of the oxygen just by throwing bread in the freezer. And I know for a fact that that is taught in every 9th grade biology class around the country because it's one of those next generation science standards. But because she used big words, she's pretty, and she was on a podcast, people trust her. Apparently, she failed high school biology. That's all.
How could space be real if I can touch the other side of this car, the same car that takes up the same amount of space on a road as a bus? But on a bus, you have one side to sit, another side to sit, and a whole walkway down the center. But on the road or a parking spot, it would take up the same amount of space as this car that I can do that in. Does not make sense.
How do the cars of today digitally process how many miles the car has driven? I'm not telling you. You can go fuck.
I'll tell you, it's actually a lot more complicated than you would think. Not all the wheels spin at the same speed or travel the same distance. For example, if we took a car, drove it in a circle, and measured the distance the outer wheel and the inner wheel traveled, the outer wheel will have traveled a good bit further. So cars use an average of the 4 wheel speed sensors, along with a sensor on the transmission output shaft, to calculate how far the vehicle has traveled, which is also how the vehicle speed is calculated as well. And the rest is simple. The value is typically stored in one or multiple of the chassis or powertrain control units as some sort of encrypted value so it can't be tampered with, and fed to the cluster where it's stored as an encrypted value as well.
After watching this video, you may never use an emoji again, and for good reason. The reason that all of our emojis look the same across all major communication platforms, Android, Samsung, Mac, Microsoft, is because of this company called Unicode. And they have standardized emojis and little icons across the board. Well, previously on their website, one of their members was the Sultan of Oman. And you may be thinking, what the Sam Damn does Oman have to do with Unicode? Well, the Lesser Key of Solomon is a black magic book with 72 different sigils summoning demonic entities. A sigil is a symbol that has a lot of power attached to it, and the crafting of these sigils is considered to be one of the highest magical arts. Do you know how many face core original emojis there were? There was 72, just like there were 72 sigils for summoning demons. Now, the original emojis that came out were very sigilistic, black and white. But we have the rendered version here now, and you see the resemblance is uncanny. And the original rendered and the sigil for summoning demons. And we have this one, this one, this one, another, boom. So basically by using these emojis, you are essentially using a sigil for summoning demonic entities. The question is, what effect does this have on us? And why was it very important to get a uniform emoji across the board for all of us to use? Follow for part 2, comment your thoughts below.
I'm paralyzed from here down, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I use the restroom. So the way I actually go pee is I do use a catheter. I actually do just take off the cap. I'll get a little bit closer so you guys can see. Then I have this bag right here. I just have to unfold this, and then I untwist this right here. And then right here is the little straw, and this whole thing has to go inside of me. So I'll take off my pants, and then I put this all the way up inside of me, all the way up until here, and then wait for it to fill up. And then when I'm done, there's like a little button thing right here. Press that down so when I pull it out, all this stuff in here stays in here. And then I put it back into here just like that. Put the cap back on, and then throw out the bag. So yeah, super simple. And no, they're not reusable. Like once it goes in, it won't come back out. And so after every time, I have to throw it away and get a new one. Insurance does pay for these, and they are about $7 a piece. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the follow button, leave your questions and comments in the comments, and I'll try my best to reply to all your questions. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I absolutely did not believe this, so I did it for myself. I went on Google Earth. Somebody said, you got to go look at this. And they gave me kind of the exact locations, and I'm from Los Angeles, so I can see on his map what he was doing. So I did this myself. This is my own screenshot video. Oh my gosh, this is absolutely mind-blowing. Watch this video. This is my actual phone. I took a screenshot of me doing this, and I just kind of looked over at the other video that the guy had posted, and I can tell that it was where the 5 and the 10 freeway meet. So here it is. This is a video of a storage yard where they bring in all the stuff on trains or whatever. But if you go down to the end of it, like I'm doing here, and I was trying to go slow because it's literally mind-blowing. This is like a junkyard just right next door, and look at this. What in the world? I thought for sure there's no way this is true. This is on Google Earth. You can go to Google Earth, find that storage yard where the 5 and the 10 freeway meet, and then right below it, you will see that right there. What in the world?
Can someone with a degree in engineering or mathematics or, I don't know, food packaging help me out with this? Okay, here's the predicament. I got given these when we were in Indonesia, and they're just like your basic wafer cookie. But tell me how they got these biscuits in the frickin' box. Because what I've noticed is that these are too big to fit in the damn hull. They just will not come out, and crumbs are literally all over the place. You can kind of rotate them to see if there's like a narrower point at which they may have squeezed all these biscuits in, but there's none. There's nothing. So how did they get them in there? I know for a fact they didn't just squeeze them in there when they're still hot, because all the wafers are perfectly flat, which means they cooled on a flat surface and then they shoved them in the box somehow. So did they construct the jar around the wafers? I just want to get one out of the box without breaking it.
Hey everyone, how about an adult joke? If you're not 18 or over, please keep scrolling. Little Johnny wakes up this morning and he is so excited. Today's the day that he gets to go to a horse auction with his father. When they arrive at the horse auction, Johnny watches as his dad goes from stall to stall checking out all of the horses. He watches intently as his dad runs his hands along each horse's legs, rump, and chest. After a while, Johnny says, "Dad, why are you doing that?" "Well, Johnny, if you're thinking about buying a horse, you've got to really check it out. You've got to make sure that it's healthy, in good condition, and it's strong." Little Johnny thinks for a few minutes and he says, "Dad, I think the UPS man is trying to buy mine."
Oh, that was funny. Look at this. Okay, some good vibes experiment here by a wonderful good vibe soul. If you put, it's a hack. If you break an egg, you put it in a glass, add some water, what will happen? Huh. Okay, you put it in the microwave. Now that's where we draw the line. From this point to good vibe soul, we only have to watch from this side of the word. No. And what goes on? Is there anything new that has happened? After a few seconds, you come and check. And guess what, interesting sauce? Oh, the egg is completely cooked. Man, it looks nice. Oh, this is good vibes. Wow. When I grow up and I find somewhere people have this thing, I'll tell them of this hack and see if it really works. You see? We can check it out together.
NASA, look me in the eyes. There is nothing on Jupiter's moon Europa that you need to investigate. Do you understand me? You do not need to go burrowing through 10 to 15 miles of ice to check out that ocean. I have never seen a more cursed setup for unimaginable horrors that will happen if this is monkeyed with. Leave it alone. Or you can go back to the oceans on our planet. All right? If you want to play with an ocean, go mess with those. Go swim in there. Yeah. No, no, no. Then you leave that alone. You do not dig through 15 miles of ice because there might be something there. There's nothing there. That's the decision. We've made the decision. There's nothing there. Doesn't exist. It's like your financial budget from 20 years ago. Never happened. Didn't happen. Leave it alone. Stop trying to figure out how to get in there. It has made it abundantly clear that it should not be disturbed. Do not read from this book. Are we clear, NASA? Leave it alone.
If you keep having reoccurring dreams that foretell the future, or dreams that give you insight into things that are going on right now that you're oblivious to, or perhaps you've seen something in the spirit before it happened in reality. I know it sounds crazy to you, and if it sounds crazy to you, I'm probably not talking to you. But if it sounds like your life experience, you may be a seer, and you may not even know it. In 1 Samuel chapter number 9 and verse number 9, the Bible says that those who were before time known as seers are now known as prophets. All prophets can see, but not all seers are prophets. Seers have a unique prophetic gift, the ability to receive divine revelation and supernatural foresight through dreams and visions and supernatural sight. There are different types of seers. Some might see night visions like Daniel did. Others may have day visions like Peter in Acts chapter number 10. Some are dreamers like Joseph. And then Daniel was a dream interpreter as well as a prophetic visionary. And then there are those who have prophetic sight. They see in the spirit realm, like Elijah in 2 Kings chapter number 6. They see spiritually what is unseen naturally. Seers don't just receive information. Seers decode and interpret and reveal God's plan. But many struggle because they don't know how to steward their gift of sight. This year, I want to challenge you. Be intentional about sharpening your gift to see.
I teach you the difference between two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive once and for all. Two-wheel drive is pretty straightforward. Either your front wheels are pulling you along or your back wheels are pushing you along. The other two wheels are just along for the ride. This is great for driving in the cities and on highways, gives you the best fuel economy and the best turning radius. Four-wheel drive, all four wheels get the same amount of power all the time, but you actually have to shift into four-wheel drive, meaning you have to push a button, turn a knob, or pull a lever. This is ideal for rough terrain, off-road, steep grades, slippery, muddy roads. Why not stay in four-wheel drive all the time then? Because the fuel economy is not as good as a two-wheel drive, and your turning radius is not very tight. All-wheel drive is like a hybrid between the two. The car's computer constantly senses what wheels are turning and what wheels are slipping. It'll take power away from those that slip and give it to those that have traction. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to push any buttons, pull any levers. Your car does all the thinking for you. This is great because you have the best of both worlds. You get good fuel economy when you're driving into cities and highways, but you still have good traction if you run into snow, ice, or mud. There's no right or wrong choice here. You got to pick a rig that fits both your lifestyle and the weather pattern that's in your area.
Guys, I saw this on TikTok on somebody's page. It said peel back, and there's another one, and there's more underneath. I can't believe this. Do you know how many of these things are bought from clicks? Why isn't this on the box? Like, what the fudge?
No. Okay, let's check out this interesting stuff here. But 500 years ago, what happened? Coordinates of the world. Oh, man, this is spooky. The points to where the pyramid is. What is the speed of light? Alleged is the same as the coordinates that relate to where the pyramids are. Now, this is crazy. And it's like people in the past had visions of helicopters and the arch. How did they happen to draw these things on stones if they didn't know about them? Even the jets, man, this is crazy. Looks like Stone Age people are a little bit wise, or maybe all of them are prophets. How come they do things that almost resemble modern stuff? Even the flying saucers. This is crazy. Look. What? Look at the heads of these babies being held in these drawings. Man, this is crazy stuff.
What if I told you that every ceiling height, every window placement, every curve in a building is literally reprogramming your brain chemistry? Let's get into it. Don't be mistaken, this is not just design theory. It's called neuroarchitecture. Scientists actually discovered different architectural features trigger specific neurological responses, from the vagus nerve activation in high ceiling spaces to cortisol reduction in rooms with curved walls. Ancient Greek temples used precise proportions that modern neuroscience shows actually reducing anxiety. In Gothic cathedrals, soaring heights trigger alpha brainwave patterns similar to meditation. Let's not forget, these are not just beautiful buildings. These are sophisticated tools for altering human consciousness. This is not a conversation about aesthetics. It's about creating spaces that literally optimize human brain function. From every angle, every shadow, and every material choice are all a prescription for consciousness. Understanding neuroarchitecture has literally transformed my design practice. Literally come from the world of theme parks, and now I'm deep diving into these deeper octaves of design principles, and I'm loving it. If this resonates, I invite you to follow along, and I will see you inside the next one.
Look at this hand signs. Now this one is about the people in sports, footballers and all the celebrities in sports. This is crazy. Look at the sense they are all doing. Man, this is crazy stuff. You see, when from this side of the world we were growing up as children, there was a time or a certain phase where there was the stories about the Illuminati and the scary occult things. And some of these signs I'm seeing here, my friends, were already said to be among those things or those cards. You see, it was a bit scary, good vibe source. You see, it was even almost a taboo for making some poses here while taking photos. Now I see them and I'm surprised whether this is just a coincidence. Yeah, like the one for doing this. I even feel weird doing it right now because it was. No. This one. This one's are doing.
Kalau saya lagi senang seperti ini, dia akan muncul di bawahnya jadi happy. Dan ketika saya marah, dia akan muncul di bawahnya angry. Dan juga ketika saya sedih seperti ini, dia akan menunjukkan bahwasanya saya sedang sedih, sad.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Whatever you're gonna have, the Jews will always control you. Everywhere you go in the world, who's running all the financial? Always the Jews. Started in Paro, Yosef, everyone. The Jews are in charge of the world. Science, financial, politics, behind the presidents. Even now, everybody knows that all the campaign of Donald Trump is his son-in-law, the Jew, Kushner. I read it 3 different articles. He is the mastermind behind everything. He told him what to say, what not to say, how to react, things that he did in the end, that in the end worked out for him. And he is richer than him, don't get confused. He didn't marry him for his money. The family of his son-in-law are much wealthier than Donald Trump himself. Some people may think, oh, he married her because she, her father is the rich guy. No.
Balenciaga, What? NCAGA. This is crazy stuff. Nickelodeon. What does it mean? Northern Souther, from Northern Souther. This is crazy stuff. How do these things relate? Monster drink with the A666 symbol. Oh, this is unbelievable. Look at the Gmail logo. Even your famous Facebook logo. Social media stuff. This is unbelievable. I appreciate good website. Tell us in the comment section what you think about this stuff. Myself, finding hard to relate to them, but it's creepy. Look at this. The X's, the 6, the pyramids, the weird eyes. What is this thing? This is crazy. The sign of the Osiris rising. Is that thing a bit? To you, good web source? Oh, here's the weird gesture.
In Singapore, we already have the situation. No cash. Cashless society. It's ready to go. And a cashless society is the most important facet, the most important controlling facet of this new world economic order. Remember now, we have three facets to this new world order enslaving government. We have the new world order, the political part of it. We have the new world economic order, which is the enslaving economic part of it in a cashless society. And as well as that, we have the religious order, meaning the New Age movement that we discussed previously. So this magazine now is a magazine published by another sub-organization of the Illuminati. The Futurist is a magazine designed to condition us to their plan that is coming. And in this one particular issue, you'll notice here that there's a symbol on the front. It looks like a dollar symbol, and you may not see that it's really an electronic circuit, meaning that the new money that's coming, and they say that here, is electronic money, not paper money, not coin money, but credits and debits. Electronic funds transfer in a cashless society, not just in the United States, but globally. Now notice on one of the prime articles here, it talks about a cash-free society. In other words, folks, there is a plan to take the entire globe cashless, according to information I've gleaned from research.